I move that the school board, having been in closed session pursuant to a proper motion, come out of session.
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Whereas the Franklin City School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, and now therefore be it resolved that the Franklin City School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion for certification signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Normally, we do not have public comment, but we will allow questions to be written on cards at the end of this meeting, and we will spend about 30 minutes answering those questions that we can legally. Looks like we have 3 motions for our closed session. The first is to approve our personnel agenda, plus item number 3. Do we have that motion?
So move.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Do we have a motion to approve personnel item number 3?
So move.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. Do we have any abstentions? We have 1 abstention. Do we have a motion to approve the field trip to James Madison University?
I so move.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion carries. Do we have a motion to approve our agenda as written?
It was me.
Do we have a motion to approve our agenda?
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. We have the first reading of our minutes on March 13th, 2025. We will save that for our next meeting, but we do need to approve on the second reading our minutes for February 27th, 2025. Do we have such a motion?
I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? We have 1. Report of the superintendent, Dr. Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. Dr. Minor.
Mr. Holt, school board members, Ms. Davis, Dr. Carter, citizens and community members, good afternoon, good evening. On March 25th, a letter of intent to return was sent out to our staff, and staff members were asked to respond no later than the close of business on March 31st, and here are the results. Overall staff retention, 95.7% of the staff. That's 233 respondents. We do have a few respondents that are out, and once they return, they will be able to respond. So 95.7% of our overall staff have stated that they are going to respond, which is a reflection of a strong division-wide commitment and satisfaction. Next slide, please. So here's the breakdown. When you look at teachers, 91% of the teachers have stated that they will return next school year. For SP Morton, 86.2 are returning, 1 is retiring, and actually 5 is seeking opportunities in another division, and 1 has not decided, and you will see that in a later slide. 100% of the support staff has decided to return. At JPK Junior CTE Academy, 100% of the teaching staff, as well as the support staff, have stated that they will return. At Franklin High School, 95.2% of the staff has stated that they will return. 1 is relocating to another state, although that person said it is not a 100% guarantee, but they are leaning towards going to another state. The other person is seeking a position closer to home. The operations department, 95.6% of those staff members have stated that they will return. 1 is retiring. Central office staff members, 1 is seeking other opportunities. 97% of those staff members have stated they will return. Next slide, please. So the key takeaways from our intent to return: retention is high across all schools and departments. JPK Junior CTE Academy, 100% retention from those staff. And most departures stem from life transitions, not job dissatisfaction. I will state that contracted staff do have until June 30th to decide if they're going to leave after they sign their contract. The only thing we ask that if staff members are seeking other opportunities, as soon as they receive a contract from another division, if they can let HR know, because as we know, after June 30th, teachers are not allowed to move in and out of the divisions, the 7 cities, and so we want to make certain that we are able to replace those people with qualified candidates. And I would also like to say, of the 5 positions at SP Morton, we have already filled 4 of those positions with qualified candidates. Next slide, please. So here are the reasons that our staff members have cited for leaving. Some of the reasons I did take out the identifying information, but I felt it was important for everyone to see exactly what they wrote as to why they were leaving. The one person stated that they are still having some family and school and other issues, and that if they decided to come back, they wanted to change grade levels. Retiring, the third teacher. Not feeling supported and no discipline for students that throw things at teachers. The one thing I do want to say about that statement is that is a teacher that is in a SPED classroom. And sometimes based on a student's disability and their, it may be a manifestation of their behavior. So instead of disciplining those students, we normally put those students on a behavior plan to work with those students. Another key point from that teacher is touch-based nights are pointless and require teachers to stay late. For those that do not know what touch-based nights are, those are our parent-teacher conference nights, which allow our parents that work during the day to come and speak with the teachers at night about their child's progress. Number 4, retiring. Next slide, please. Okay. So the final, okay, there it is. All right. The next teacher, personal reasons. Another one is planned to work at another location closer to home, as that person lives in North Carolina. One person said that at their age, they feel they need to be closer to home. Another person stated that her family has decided that she will be a stay-at-home mom. One teacher stated that the district does not fit my professional goals at this time. And this was that one high school teacher that has stated that he or she would take a job out of the state, but it's not a 100% guarantee, but they're leaning towards not returning, and they will let me know. And the other person seeking other opportunities. From history, I will say that last year, when we did the intent to the intent to return letters, from the day that the intent returns were due to the first day of school, we had one SP Morton teacher that resigned before the June 30th date to work closer to home, and one Franklin High School teacher that was promoted. So what has happened during the 24-25 year when it comes to teachers that have resigned? One has resigned at SP Morton. One has resigned at the CTE Academy. 2 teachers did resign at the high school, as well as 1 long-term sub. 1 teacher that would have serviced both the elementary school and the high school, and 2 central office staff members. And those are contracted positions, not classified positions. Any questions?
What's the difference between contract and classified?
So our contracted are our certified positions, so teachers, administrators, classified as our support staff. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment, because for a teacher to say that touch base isn't, what did they exactly say?
Touch base
It was
is pointless. Mm-hmm.
I don't see it being pointless. I only see it being pointless if the parents don't come out to speak to the teachers. So I'd like some clarification on that one, if I can get it from that individual, please. Why did they
Yes.
say it's pointless?
I will, well, we do have exit interviews. So when I do my exit interview with that teacher, I'll get some more clarification on that. Any other questions? Thank you.
Board, I would also like to add that our enrollment is up by 12%, and we are really getting a lot of high qualified candidates early. So staff, the educators outside of Franklin really see what's happening, and they want to be a part of it. Dr. Ricks?
Dr. Ricks, hold on one second. So our enrollment should be close to 700 now, is what you're telling me? Over?
No, I'm saying from the previous year, it went up 12% total. So that would average to roughly about 150, 160 students more. And so what I'm saying now is that we're looking at it to increase about another 100 students next year.
All right, good evening, everyone. All right, so tonight I'll be talking about our senior cohort and also giving some insight on our overall overage student population. Currently at Franklin High School, we're in the red zone at a level 3 for a dropout percentage, in which that dropout in percentage over a 2-year trend has increased from 4% to 11%. As of 3/17/2025, we received a report, 50% of the senior graduating class was reported as in danger of not graduating. The actual student percentage currently right now, as we look at the student count, we have worked with the teams and we have reduced that percentage down to 45% in danger of not graduating in this 2025 cohort. 34 out of 75 students are in danger of not graduating in 2025. Out of that percent, we've noticed, when we noticed that large percent, we went in to get more data and get a percentage of how many students are currently in our division, and that's at an overage rate. And as you can see, 7th through 12th graders right now at 9% overage. That is 41 students that are in our building that are overage. And we know that in any data trends that when you're overage, you fall into most of the time those dropout percentages. Next slide. So that with that data, we currently work with our team, not just the school teams, the central office teams, the support staff. We work to put key interventions in place, and these are some things that I'm going to review tonight. So we have developed a division dropout committee to set interventions for those specific populations. Ms. Tompkins will be coming forth, our Chief Academic Officer, tonight to talk about the Verified Credit Committee. We have noticed with this next bullet, which is our special permission locally awarded verified credit accommodation for our students with disabilities. We have noticed that we have not used this special accommodation, which is known as you can see here, the acronym for that. We've noticed that we have not used that at all in our division over the last 3 years. And we haven't used it, period. And it's been pretty much established over the last 3 to 4 years. This gives our students that only have been graduating before, whether they had a 504 or a disability, they were graduating with just a certificate or applied studies, which is equal to a certificate. And with that graduation, with that certificate, these students were released from school and they can't get a job. They can't go to college. They can't go to a trade school. So we have established a committee. We have identified kids that are currently in that graduation cohort right now. And we have worked with our special ed team, also with our Chief Academic Officer, and we have worked with the school teams, and we are going to save 6 special ed kids. And we've submitted those. We're working on submitting those to the state. The next thing that we're doing right now, we're developing a supportive plan to support students with behavior challenges who have been elevated to graduate early without meeting academic requirements. We have noticed that, and we're working on plans to support those students. Notifications were shared with parents and students who were classified as being in danger of not graduating, and in-person meetings are scheduled for the first week of April, and they will also be going out before we go to spring break. We are meeting with families one-on-one. We've worked with families. We've worked with each student per student and analyzed their specific situations that's on this graduation cohort. CPR, which we noticed with our seniors, some of them still have not met the CPR requirement, which they must meet before they graduate. CPR will be offered from April the 10th during the 4th block for term graduates, and we will also be extending after-hour schools for our seniors to meet that requirement. Remediation plans have been developed by our curriculum specialists, and once they develop those, along with the teachers, the lead support from the lead counselors and administrators in the building, Ms. Tompkins have reviewed those plans and made modifications and made sure that they were ready to support our senior class. Next slide. We also noticed with this large dropout, this large overage group, that there are students that's just causing concerns and problems and challenges within the school because they don't have any credits now, and they're causing problems in the classroom. So we have had to begin to develop alternative education plans, specifically targeting those students that's falling into that 41 students that I just mentioned. Industry certification, tutoring sessions, 3rd block. We have built this within our instructional day, specific industry certifications, so that we can get those seniors across the stage. Graduating class, we scheduled special tutoring sessions and retesting throughout the month of April. The SOL Academy will still be going on during the Enrichment Fridays for grades 7 through 12. We still have the all-in tutoring to work with our students that are behind. And also, again, our student service team is working on developing a full-time alternative program proposal to present to Dr. Carter and you all to hopefully put a strategic plan in place to definitely target those 41 students in that overage population. Any questions? And I want to also state that this begins in the 9th grade. You know, we should be modeling, monitoring, and making sure that we never get to a place that we're having to do this much intervention and support with our senior cohort. And I want to commend the instructional team. I want to commend the student services team, the family engagement team, the school teams, because this takes work. And it takes a team getting together. It takes the community. It takes the parents. We appreciate just all the support that we've had in this process, but it takes a team. Thank you.
So can we clarify what we mean by overage? Is that for their grade level?
Yes,
Or?
it's for their particular grade level. So we may have kids that are 16 in the 9th grade. We may have kids that are 18 in the 11th grade currently right now. And we do have those cases.
Question. Just to clarify, we were sitting at 50% of students, of seniors that were in danger of not graduating as of right now for this.
Well, when we
excuse me, for this
first sent the letters were sent out by the school counselor the week of March the 17th. During that time, we identified that it was 50%. But as we began to get industry certifications complete and more data began to come in, that's when we gradually began to decrease. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Tompkins?
Good evening, Mr. Holt, Chair, Vice Chair, school board members, Dr. Carter, all those assembled here. I have the task of following Dr. Ricks, and I want to add a little more context to what we mean when we say we have 50% of our students who are currently in the 2025 graduating class ill-prepared for a high school diploma. When we take a look at the 2019 standards, this was the last time that Franklin High School had a fully accredited school, meaning they did not have any level 3 or reds. Since that time, we have had the school that has had level 3s and were not accredited. Next slide, please. When we think about our administrators, what the law requires, the state guidelines are based on per 600 students. You are only by law required to have one principal, one assistant principal, and one school counselor. In Franklin, we have about 515 students in our high school. We have one principal, 3 assistant principals, 1 dean of students, 2 counselors, and 1 counselor who is also doing double duty as the registrar. So as you can see, when it comes to our investment in administration for our division, our investment is at the school level. Next slide, please. 23-24 is the school year for accreditation. It's based on the 22-23 school year data. As you can see, we are a level 3 in 3 places: chronic absenteeism, science, as well as career and college readiness. Next slide, please. The same for 24. Once again, we are at a level 3 in science, dropout rate, and college and career readiness, which means the school is not accredited. Next slide, please. One of the things that I want to bring back to you to add a little more context to the first attempt. When we talk about why our students are not graduating, it starts really in the 9th grade. That is where high school begins. We have to take a look at how many students. For example, we have to ensure that our students, if we had 100 students taking our Algebra 1 test, At a 25% pass rate, it means that only 25 of 100 students passed. With Algebra 2, if we had 100 students, only 31% means only 31 of those students would have passed. And as you can see how the trend is right now for our students who had a first attempt, this is without any retests. This is the first time that they took the test. This is after they have completed the coursework and took the test based on their coursework. Next slide, please. As you can see, once again, it gives you a breakdown of all of the courses and a few retests and summer school that we are still not making the mark in math, English, science, or social studies. Next slide, please. One reason that our students are having to take the test multiple times is because they have not passed it the first time. As we have been looking at student data in our cohort data, which means those students who are graduating in 2025, some students have taken assessments 9 times and have not passed. We have some that have taken it 8 times, 7 times. These are the scores that we have been looking at as we are trying to prepare our students. Your senior year is not the time that you should have this level of retesting going on. This should happen much earlier, because you are allowed, by the time you get to your senior year, you should have no verified credits that you need to have. You should have all of them by the 11th grade. And when you do not have them by the 11th grade, then that means you are in danger of not graduating, which is what I will explain in my next section about locally awarded verified credits. Next slide.
Quick question.
Yes.
Why do slow? Is it teachers? Is it administration? Is it the community? Why are we not getting these up? What would be your opinion?
Well, it's not just a very simple answer. One of the things that I would say,
Could you please let her answer? Let's be respectful, okay?
Only board can speak.
there are multiple factors. One is that there is a misalignment of what is taught and what is tested. The test data is very specific on what students should know and be able to do. If they are not being taught at that high level, they are not going to be successful on the assessments and will have to take it multiple times. If we have 50% of students who are at March 17th in danger of not graduating, that's an administration problem, because students should know before they get to the 12th grade.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure. Next slide, please. Any questions? Next presentation.
Please, we have an officer here that can remove these.
Locally awarded verified credits. review panel. And at the conclusion of this presentation, I'm going to ask that the board approve the review panel so that we can move forward with awarding locally awarded verified credits for those students who have taken SOLs multiple times and need a locally awarded verified credit based on multiple attempts. In order for a student to graduate from any Virginia high school, they must earn units of credit, which means they must pass the course, and verified units, which means they have passed an SOL in 5 courses. They must pass English reading, English writing, science, history, and math. Next slide, please. To be eligible to earn a locally awarded verified credit in either English, math, science, or history, a student must first pass the high school course. They must score within 375 to 399 on a scale score based on their SOL. 600 is the highest, but students must get a 400 to pass. But if they score between 375 and 399, then they can be administered, they can take the test again. They must take the test at least twice in order to be eligible for a locally awarded verified credit. The student can, if they demonstrate that they have the academic content, they can appeal to the local appeal process to award them a locally awarded verified credit. So the number of locally awarded verified credits. During COVID, the state allowed 3 locally awarded verified credits that could come from the panel. Now you can only receive 1. So if you need 4, you are going to have to pass 3 of the 4 assessments and get only 1 locally awarded verified credit to graduate high school. The only exception to this rule is if you have an accommodation because you are a student with disabilities. This number there is no limit for those students. Next slide, please. And this is in our local policy. The school board appoints a review panel comprised of at least 3 educators to consider the evidence of the student's achievement. The panel reviews the evidence, which can be projects, tests, any assignments that have been given by the teacher that demonstrates that the student has some knowledge of that content. It is the discretion of the panel as to what information they will review. Based on the evidence, the panel can do one of several things. They can award the verified credit, they can deny it, they can suggest that that particular student participate in some kind of remedial program, such as Enrichment Fridays, all-in tutoring, whatever we offer for extra tutoring, make them do additional assignments to determine whether or not they will award the verified credit. The panel is final. Their decision is final. The chief academic officer signs off that the panel has done its due diligence and students are eligible for that verified credit. And this is just a sample of the form that the schools use to verify this credit.
Question,
Yes.
only the school board can approve that.
The school board does not approve the verified credit. They approve the panel.
Okay, so the panel, the 3 educators.
Correct. The panel is 3 educators. And the recommendation for the locally awarded, and this is part of the state procedure as well, who should be on that panel. And it's usually the school principal, the testing coordinator, and the lead school counselor. The chief academic officer signs off on all recommendations. So the board, we don't bring the names to the board, we bring the names of the panel, and the panel has the final say with my signature to award those credits for students. So I'm asking at this time if there are no questions. Are there any questions?
So have we had a panel like this in the past?
We've had a panel, but I don't know if it came before the board for approval of the panel. That's our policy. We have awarded locally awarded verified credits, but whether they came for the panel was before my time, I don't know.
But the board has to approve that panel?
According to our policy, the school board approves the panel.
And is this similar in other jurisdictions or other divisions in the state?
Yes. But this is our policy as of March 2019. This was updated. So there are several revisions, but it has been in this is our local policy. Now, whether it has been the practice, I can't speak to that. But the policy for Franklin City Public Schools says that the school board has to approve the panel, who then awards and approves the verified credits.
So is there any documentation stating that this was actually done for last year? Because I've never seen that being on the board.
There were several students who were awarded locally awarded verified credits with signatures on them. But this is what the panel has to do. This is what our policy is. So one of the things that we wanted to do is to ensure, because there's nothing wrong with awarding a locally awarded verified credit for graduation. But what I wanted to make sure this year that we reviewed, as we are reviewing policies, that we make sure that we are following our own policies regarding how we do our business. And this is one of the areas where we know that we are going to have to award a good number of locally awarded verified credits. We wanted to make sure that the board fully understands what our policy is, and we're going to follow the policy as well as in our practice.
I got a question. When you say a good number, excuse me, when you say a good number, what is the number? What are we looking at?
Now, when you say number, what are you talking about? Like how many we can award?
No, how many students are we looking at having to do this for? And well, out of those students, is it one? Is it one course? Like what are we looking at?
The student can get a verified credit in only one course. So if a child, because we do have some students who need a verified credit in history, science, math, and English. If they do not pass 3 of the 4, we can only give them 1. The state only allows us to give them 1. In Dr. Ricks's presentation, when she talked about the special accommodations, that's only for special education students who are seeking a standard diploma, not an applied studies diploma. That's the only exception where they can receive more than 1. Everybody else, we are making sure that we are looking at every possible opportunity for our students. But this is late in the game for this.
I have a quick question here. So
Sure.
a grade, what is the passing grade?
They have to pass the course.
So if someone passes at a 400, that's out of 600, that's a 66%, correct? Mm-hmm. That's the passing. What are the 3 levels? So there's mastery, when you're talking about SOL.
There is below basic, or for high school, it's below basic, it's mastery, and then it is, I can't remember
Proficiency,
the third
there's
one.
proficiency.
But proficiency.
And then mastery.
Yes.
Okay. So when we're looking at these students, they're still only getting 66% correct, right?
Yes.
So any class, if they want to go to college, they can't get a D. I know teaching dual enrollment, a 66% would not qualify them to pass any sort of college, right? I know at Camp Community College, they have to have a C or above. So even if they're passing, they're still insufficient. Is that true? Would you agree with that?
I would say yes. However, when they get a locally awarded verified credit, they're even though their grade may be a D, they are considered to have passed, and therefore they would qualify for a locally awarded verified credit, and therefore they could graduate if they have all four. They have to have 5. But let's say they pass writing, because you have to pass writing, reading, math, science, and social studies. So let's say I passed writing. So I have 1 verified credit. I now need 4 others. I can only get 1 as a locally awarded verified credit. The other 3 I must pass with a 400 score or better.
Board, do we have a motion? Do we have a motion to approve the locally awarded verified credit now?
I have a question before we even do that, Bob. I'm sorry, excuse me. So what are we doing for these students that are not going to pass, that only have that 1 out of 4? What are we going to do from here on?
We have been
'Cause this
given permission by the state to test some students outside of the testing window, which gives them more opportunities to pass. We have already established a list of who's going to be tutored. They're being tutored in small groups. They're being tutored by teachers. They're being tutored by our curriculum specialist. We're looking at the questions that they did not pass and focusing on those questions in those sections that carry the most weight, because every piece of the test does not carry the same amount of weight. So those students are being heavily remediated.
So before I even say I join everyone to approve this, can this data be brought to us in mid-year and not end of the year going forward?
Sure.
December, on Christmas break? All year? Just for it to come knock on our door, ring our bell or something? Because this makes no sense at the end of the year. It makes no sense that 34 out of 75 students are in critical danger of not graduating. And we are at the end of the year. This is not the middle of the year, the beginning of the year. This is the end of the year. And to have them where they're supposed to have 4 credits, may only have 1, may only have 2, may possibility have 3, to go through remediation. And I'm going to say this because I had one child knock on my door the other day and told me that if they don't graduate, they're not coming back. And it's not fair to them. It's not fair to them. They did their 4 years. It's not fair to them that someone along the line dropped the ball. It's not fair. It's not just the central office. And I'm sorry for speaking out of turn. It's not just the central office. You know what? You're right. They can't. But it takes a village to raise a child.
I'll ask again, do we have a motion to approve the locally awarded verified credit now?
I so move.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I have the approval of the special education annual plan for 25-26. That'll be my final presentation.
So the recommendation is from school.
Yes. And they will be informed tomorrow, and yes, and the forms will be sent so that they can begin gathering their evidence. So this is my last and final presentation, our annual plan. It says 24-25. This is when I'm presenting it to you, but it is for the 25-26 school year. Next slide, please. Just want to give you some background information. Each year we bring to you the annual plan, which is in alignment with our federal regulations of IDEA that we must follow as we are providing services for our students with disabilities. Next slide, please. This federal grant ensures that our state operating programs and procedures, that we ensure that all of our students who have an identified disability are receiving a free and appropriate public education. And we have to certify with how we are using our funds to meet these goals. Next slide, please. So as of December 1 count, which we are required, we had 144 students with disabilities and 41 students with 504 plans. And that simply means that those students need some type of accommodation to ensure that they are receiving their high quality education. With the influx of students that we've had in our division, of course, our special education program has increased. So now we have our current data. We have 150 students with disabilities, and we have 54 504 plans. As of January 1st, we had our maintenance of effort, which is the amount of money that we have to locally provide. That was submitted and approved. We had our annual plan that was reviewed with our SEAC committee, which is our Special Education Advisory Committee. So they had an opportunity to review our plan and to provide feedback. And today I'm presenting the annual plan to the division. Here are some of the ways in which we are allowed to use funds. Personnel, of course, benefits, purchase services, other services, materials, and supplies to support our students with disabilities. Next slide, please. So here are our allocations. We were awarded $384,607. A little over $16,000 is used to support our pre-K special education students. Our flow through, which is basically how we comply with federal regulations to ensure that we are following IDEA, and the CCEIS, which is our comprehensive coordinated early intervening services, which allows us to screen students early to determine if they have a disability and that we need to provide. So this gives us funding for those things. Next slide. We want to make sure that we set aside that money to make sure that we're able to provide those students who have potentially been over-identified. We have two areas that Franklin Public Schools has been over-identified with students with disabilities. And one is long-term suspensions, with students suspended over 10 days within a school year, and the over-identification of African American students with an intellectual disability. This money helps us combat those over-identifications and allows us to put systems and processes in place to ensure that we do not over-identify in any particular category. Next slide, please. So as you can see, the folks that have been a part of this Exceptional Education Committee, those folks are listed here. Our CCEIS and Child Find program, those are the folks that have participated in this process in some way. So it is my task to ask that that our annual plan for special education be approved at this time.
I so move.
I second.
All in favor of the motion to approve the special ed plan, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Board, we will provide updated information on SP Morton when they take their SOL test in May, okay? But we had to give you this emergency information for Franklin because we have June 14th is coming and we've got to get 50% of our seniors across the stage. Okay, what you just saw, thank you to WHRO for putting that together. I would like to respond to the mayor's comments about the CTE program that he made on Monday night. The program at J.P. King, while the mayor stated the program is nothing new, he has been seen, that it says seen only one additional since its inception. I respectfully disagree with that statement that he made. The CTE program has undergone significant expansion and development under new leadership as assistant superintendent and superintendent. Prior to the establishment of the CTE Center, Franklin High School offered limited CTE courses including marketing, JROTC, business, welding, electricity, and the latter housed at Apaldi Camp College. Since my tenure, we have introduced or restored programs such as nursing, culinary arts, criminal justice, building trades, and early childhood education. Furthermore, we have been approved by the Virginia Department of Education for cosmetology and barbering programs to begin in the 25-26 school year. The purpose of the CTE program is rigorous and requires year-long application progress. Additionally, the CTE Academy officially opened for the 2024 academic year. It is important to note that prior to these enhancements, Franklin High School CTE program were not accredited since 2019. Under new leadership and specific efforts, we have anticipated achieving accreditation for 24-25 school year. The Pearson Testing Center located at the CTE Center is another milestone. It offers high-stake exams for professional certification and licensing. For example, real estate agents can now take their license exams locally. This achievement is significant as the Pearson Center cannot be established within a 50-mile radius of an existing center. Moreover, the Old Dominion University is scheduled to open a medical clinic at the CT Center in May 2025, providing free services to Franklin City Public School families. Looking ahead, we plan to renovate the Charles Street Gym into an engineering center to further expand educational opportunities. Community members can support this initiative by purchasing commemorative bricks, benches to place around the building. For further information, please see Ms. Davis. For a small brick, it's $100. A large brick is $300. If you would like to purchase a bench, $850. Now, regarding the 7th, 12th grade model that also was mentioned, the current 7th grade, 12th grade model at Franklin High School aligns with practices seen in other Virginia schools, such as Lake Braddock Secondary School, which has 4,377 students, Robinson Secondary School, which has 3,607 students, and Hayfield Secondary School has 3,145 students. These schools demonstrate high proficiency rates on SOL tests despite their large populations. Effective school-based leadership is key to replicating such success in Franklin, such as Lake Braddock School with the population of 4,377. They have a proficiency rate of 89% in reading and 81% in math. So this is nothing new and can be done here in Franklin with only 515 students. Additionally, middle school students riding a bus with high school students has been a long-standing practice in Franklin, so it is unclear why this issue has suddenly become a concern. Acknowledgement of leadership. I extend my gratitude to the school board and central office for their exemplary leadership and unwavering professionalism. Their dedication to advancing the mission of education in Franklin is commendable and deserves recognition. It is important for the citizens of Franklin to understand the exceptional qualifications, expertise, and the members of our school board bring to their roles. Each individual contributes a unique set of skills and experiences that collectively strengthen our education system. Ms. Danielle Hunt holds a bachelor's degree of science in international studies and an MBA from William & Mary, showcasing her strong foundation in global perspectives and business acumen. Dr. Peggy Scott possesses a master's degree in science and social work and a doctorate in theology, reflecting her deep commitment to community service and ethical leadership. Ms. Lysandra Parker is a retired Naval Aviation Ordnance Chief, holds a Bachelor's of Science in Organizational Leadership, exemplifying discipline and strategic thinking. Ms. Orrin Counsell, a practicing attorney, brings legal expertise and advocacy skills to the board decision-making process. Dr. Reed Harrison, a physician specializing in internal medicine, provides invaluable insights in health-related concerns impacting our schools. Ms. Christina Boone, with a degree in civil engineering, is also a registered medication aide through the Board of Nursing, demonstrating versatility and attention to detail. Mr. Robert Hull, an Army veteran, holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Management and Master's in Science in Adult Education. He was recognized as a School Board Member of the Year in 2021 for his outstanding contributions. Finally, it is disheartening to know that 5 out of the 7 council members signed a letter calling for the resignation of the school board based on a popularity contest rather than performance. I urge the city council to present evidence of wrongdoing if it exists. Otherwise, I request that you refrain from baseless accusations. Transparency remains a cornerstone of our operations, and any misconduct would inevitably come to light. We remain committed to the advanced education and fostering success for every student in Franklin City Public Schools. So folks, it doesn't get any better than this. And I'm telling you right now, I'll put this board up against any school board in the nation. They care about students and they care about the staff. And you can see by the retention rate, the numbers don't lie.
Hold on, Bob, hold on. I got a comment. You said we had comments. I'm not going to try to speak for anybody that's sitting out here. I can only speak for LaChonda Parker sitting right here. The information, I graduated from Franklin 2003. And that stuff that I'm seeing right now is bigger than one. I'm sorry, I'm about to cry. I'm about to get irritated. It's not a one-person issue. It's not just that. It's not a one-person issue. It's not one particular location. I remember being at J.B. King and Mr. Benjamin reading to us in the classrooms and being in and about. I remember the DARE officers coming through. I remember being at S.P. Morton. That was when it was the middle school for me. And we had DARE, and we had Miss Harrell, and we had different people. We had, where's Miss Burgess? Never forget, BFG, still one of my favorite stories. I'm reading it to my daughter now. There have been people that have been here my entire time through school that made school so much fun and make sure that we learned. I'm sick and I'm devastated over the state of the schools, period, overall. It didn't just happen within the last 6 months. It didn't happen within the last year. This has been happening for a number of years. I was gone for a little bit. But there is absolutely no reason why this little community cannot pull together for where we are now versus what it was like when we were in school. Everybody joined in. Everybody took a chance and put everything that they had into students. It didn't happen overnight, and I'm not going to look at one person and blame it only on one person. I'm going to look at the board collectively because we're the ones that are sitting here. So we're the ones who have to fix it. It doesn't matter what happened before us or where it is. That's just what it is. So y'all want to go ahead and knock us out? Go ahead, but we have a duty to fix it. The teachers need support. The principals need support. We need the community to step in. There are a lot of people who did a lot of things for us during the summer times and in class all throughout my time in school. So to come home and to see Franklin literally at the bottom of the barrel, it really, really hurts me. It really, really does. So I'm asking, not just the board, we take accountability, period. That's what it is. This is on us. We've got to fix it. We need help from everyone else. So instead of us fighting and pointing fingers at who did or who did not do, how about we focus on the ones that really matter, which are our kids from preschool all the way up, and they don't stop being our responsibility just because they graduated from high school. Get in and help these babies, literally our preschoolers and our elementary age kids. It can't just be once they get to the 9th grade. If we wait till they get to the 9th or 10th grade, we've already failed. So it is going to take all of us, starting from the babies. You know what? But also when I was coming up, our parents also held us accountable, and they also taught us too. It can't all just be on the teachers. So parents take some accountability. Parents come out and see what is going on in your schools and with your students. We have access for you to be able to talk. I don't know if some of you know, but we have Parent Square. I can talk to Tyson's teacher whenever I get ready to. She responds back. You want to know what's going on? And it's mind-blowing to me. I'm sorry I'm taking up time. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
But it's mind-blowing to me because we don't know what it is that's going. When I say we, I'm a parent, right? My baby's in the 1st grade. Too many parents have no idea what it is that is going on with their children because they're not involved with their children in the schools. So I'm not going to blame my principal or my assistant principal or my dean of students when I don't know what is going on with my child. So to me, this is for me, this is everybody. We all, as a parent, I have to be involved. I have to train my daughter. I have to teach my daughter. I have to give her rules and regulations. She has to go to school. She has to follow it. That's the way that it goes. That's what it is. It's not one particular person. It is going to take Franklin, whether you have kids in the school system or not, you are here. You are part of the community. They are also going to be a part of the community. We are all going to have to pull together. I don't care about popularity contests. I don't care about any of that. At this point, I am sick because these children are not, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, like Ms. Boone just said. They're suffering. There's no reason that we're even looking at this and having this kind of conversation at this point, whether it's the beginning of the year or that we shouldn't even be here right now. So now my feeling and my question is this. Do we feel that our kids aren't any better than the bottom of the barrel? That they're going to graduate and they may get a job somewhere? Say it again, baby. Well, let me tell you something. I graduated from Franklin, and then I went to OCS as an RDC, and then I had students that came through that program that are now naval officers. You don't have to be a statistic of anywhere that you come from. And we're not going to let them be a statistic of where they came from because people feel that, oh my God, they're just from little old Franklin and they're going to be nothing. We're not doing it.
This man right here, that's what we've been trying to convince you guys the entire time, is that I don't have a personal agenda against Dr. Carter. I've never met the man in my life, never cared. I brought my children from Southampton School because they were failing. I have 7 kids. I'm a registered nurse. I work hard every single day of my life. My children went to Southampton Academy. They are exemplary in a lot of things. There are a lot of things there that are better, and it's not just the education. It starts at home. It starts with the foundation. The kids are not passed grade to grade. If you can't read or write, you don't go to the next grade. Dr. Carter actually says things to me sometimes that make sense. And I'm like, yeah, here we are bashing this man and everybody's hating on him. And he's obviously made some decisions that we don't like. But all we're asking is to be heard. Because our kids, we're here. We're here fighting for what's right, not just for our children, but the children that don't have a place at home. But you're holding accountable a person that I have seen, and I will say, I love the administration at the academy, always have. They're great people. He compares. He compares. My kids have been through every school in this county. Not one person that has been a principal to me, other than Tammy Rayleigh, who is now at the academy, gives you that same warm, fuzzy feeling. Every kid matters. He doesn't care if you don't have a dad at home. He'll be your dad. He will be the man in your life that you need. He is
All right, let's cut off the discussion. Mr. Cowles, would you pass the cards up?
Hey, everybody, please don't be so rude to our chair, okay? I'm serious because this is not the forum right now, and I understand that people want to be heard, but there is an order in things, and we would appreciate so much if you would just follow the order. Mr. Holt did not have to allow that to continue, and he did. And we're not trying to be rude, we're not trying to be ugly, and we're not trying to cut people off. I know this fine lady. She and I have a long history together. She's fabulous, but please be respectful. You've noticed that as board members, we are very respectful to one another. That is one of the things that I am so grateful for on this board, is that I appreciate everything that the other board members have said. I respect the other board members. When we meet together in private session, we listen to one another. We are richly blessed because we come from such different backgrounds. We have such different, unique experiences. This is one of the strengths of our board. And I would like you guys to please just, again, we're seeking to be respectful to you. We're not calling anybody names. We're not calling each other names. And we are, and whoa, hey,
Let's settle down and let the board have their say. We have our disagreements. Let them conduct their meeting.
Thank you. At the moment, it is the board meeting, and it is a time for board members to speak. And I am a board member, and I'm respectfully asking you to allow me to speak.
Thank you, Mayor, for that. We had a question about cell phones, and it says, why are not all kids being disciplined equally at Franklin High School for cell phone usage? Some are suspended, some are told to put it away. Nothing is across the board. Dr. Carter?
The administration we've discussed that, and it's supposed to be a consistent discipline across the board. So if there is a situation where there is not consistency, then I ask you to contact Dr. Tanika Ricks, and she will investigate, because we will not tolerate things not being fair. So if there's inconsistent discipline, please contact Dr. Tanika Ricks if you see that happening at the high school.
I think the pouches changed that drastically, didn't they?
Yes, the pouches allow the students to be able not to be distracted and give the students an opportunity to learn. Now, did they like it? Of course not. But are they getting used to it? Yes. And so we were experiencing of students with the headphones on in class, listening to music, or they would be sleeping. They would be doing anything but paying attention to the lesson. And then at the point the teachers were getting frustrated, and they just ignored it at some time, and they just gave up. But now we just tell the teachers now, please do not struggle with the students. Give them a warning, and then call administration, and administration will handle it.
What impact do you believe the loss of one instructional day per week has on learning outcomes? And is any consideration given to going back to 5 days a week?
Absolutely. So we lengthened the school day, and then we also have Enrichment Fridays. So Enrichment Fridays are a chance for the kids, parents who want their children in school to always attend 5 days a week. Now, we passed out surveys that ask the parents, we ask the staff, and when it comes back, the parents and the staff, the majority says stay in favor of the Wellness Fridays. So we're listening, and we set out data, so we're listening to the community. And so the majority of that data comes back to keep the Wellness Fridays, and then we also keep Enrichment Fridays, so that if you want to place your child into school 5 days a week, that option is there.
Instead of it being an option, can it be mandatory? Yeah. And the reason why I'm asking that is because that 5th day, some of our students need to bring up these grades.
What we can do is the kids that are in need of that remediation, we're going to get our family engagement specialists, our administrators from school base, our central office, go door to door and make those students mandatory, because they really need the help.
So can we name it Remediation Friday? something, so they have some type of clue, because going door to door doesn't always work. Calling them on the phone doesn't always work. What is that thing when you go to the school and you're supposed to meet the teacher after school, the parents are not coming out, so what do we do next? Set off balloons?
We
Firecrackers?
can look at putting together a policy once we take a look at the data and require those kids that are not passing their SOLs to come to school.
Dr. Carter. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
In addition to that, though, I know we have some other stuff that's coming up in May, but just across the district, period. Like if we have the students who are struggling, period. I know like SB1 we have the enrichment Friday, but across the board, if the students are struggling, I don't think it should be optional for them to be able to participate on that day like that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
schools.
across all schools. I'm saying that we have to come to you for approval to undo some part of the Wellness Friday for those targeted students that we know that have not passed the SOL, that they must come to school Monday through Friday.
Do we have staff to do that? Do we have teachers that will?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Why are kids pass grade to grade and school to school without meeting the basic requirements?
Yeah, that's been a major concern. And as of April 1st was my second year as permanent superintendent. And we've noticed that this has been a situation from the previous superintendent, and we've been trying to desperately put a stop to it. And we are going to put a stop to it. There are no more social promotions. There are no more passing from year to year. Yes, we gave them grace during the COVID pandemic, but those days are over, and really the city of Franklin really got crippled from the pandemic. But we have been talking about making sure that students do not get passed along grade to grade. So there will not be any just passing them along this year. There will be no social promotions.
I have a question on that one, because I was told whether a child does their homework or not, or decides that they just don't want to do the test, they still get a 50. Please explain that to me. Instead of a 0, explain to me why are we giving them a 50 that they don't deserve?
Okay, so if you get a 0, if you say, for instance, if you get a 0, it would take 2 A's. If you get a 0 and an A, that's 50%. And so that means you have to make 2 A's just to make up that one missed assignment. So the 50 is basically saying that you have a F, and then and then the next grade that you make an A that will average out to a C. So that's the thought process behind that. We've been looking at this grading policy, and we're trying to get some consistency across the board. Ms. Tompkins, do you want to address that, because you're the one that's been working on the committee to kind of bring that toward the board?
So wait, before you do, excuse me, hold on a second. Before you do, Ms. Thompson, yes, because I thought that 50 came along with No Child Left Behind, but that's not even a law anymore. We dropped that years ago. So if they get that 0 is what they deserve, unless they come to school and work for it, because I wasn't given grades when I went to school. I wasn't given grades.
Ms. Tompkins, can you address what we're looking at?
Yes, I will address that. One of the things that we have to do is develop a grading policy, and I'm working on getting a committee together to bring a proposed policy, because sometimes what we see is what has been a practice, not a policy. And sometimes people who've been here before or for long times continue to do what has always been done, because in absence of a policy, people people practice some things that may or may not be in the best interest of students. We are identifying that, and we're hoping to bring a policy real soon so that we are consistent across the board. But our grading policy has to be approved by the board to ensure that there is consistency across all grade levels.
So not to put you in overdrive, so we'll have that before September?
Yes. Yes. One of the things is we do not want to go into another school year without having a policy on day one of the 25-26 school year.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
How many long-term subs are currently teaching in Franklin Public Schools?
Dr. Minor.
I'm not prepared to answer that question. I do not have that data in front of me. We do have some long-term subs in Franklin City Public Schools. I will tell you that we did have 2 teachers. One teacher that started the year on maternity leave, and at the end of her 12 weeks, she did decide that she was not going to return. So there is a long-term sub in her position. We had another teacher that went on maternity leave, and a week before she was supposed to return, she decided that her and her family decided that she would become a stay-at-home mom. We have a few of our teachers that are I Teach teachers, because as we know, right now, the state of education is a lot of people are not graduating with an education degree, so a lot of people are career switchers. We have partnered with I Teach to get those people certified so that they can be certified to teach, but with that, there is some training. But the actual total number, I do not have that with me tonight, but I can get it to the board.
Pandora's box, hold on a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Long-term teacher assistants, substitute teachers, and everything. Dr. Carter, when you came here, you changed a lot of titles. You gave titles like director of math, director of science, and all of this. So with us having a math teacher missing, can you explain to me if or has he ever been in that classroom to actually see what was it, besides Ms. Tompkins? Because I know you do the teacher planning and everything, so I'm not going to point fingers at you. But this director of math, has he ever visited that particular classroom to see what those children were learning in math, to see if they were on the correct curriculum? And I'm saying him, it could be a she too, I'm sorry, that person.
Yes. So our math curriculum specialists, they are the ones that create the pacing guides and create the curriculum and for our teachers. They do have a schedule. All of the curriculum specialists have a schedule. They are, they're supposed to be in the classrooms. They have a schedule and they work with their supervisor on that schedule, so they should be in the classrooms. But if we're finding that they're not, that is something that we need to know.
So we need to know, are they being held accountable? I'd like to know if they're being held accountable.
Well, I do know that they do have a calendar, and they're supposed to be in the classroom, and they do have their meetings with their supervisor.
Ms. Tompkins can add specifics.
And I am the supervisor of all the curriculum specialists. They do have a schedule. I monitor their schedule. If there are issues or concerns, they are immediately addressed. And where we have some substitutes in those classrooms, we have put a special schedule together for those folks to go in and co-teach and work directly with those teachers. So once we know that, then we make those real-time corrections.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm not holding you accountable, but I can pencil whip a schedule also. That doesn't mean that I physically stepped into that classroom, or I've even seen a guidance counselor because the child walked past their office. Hey, baby, how you doing? Child said, hey. They jotted down that they spoke to the child for 15, 20 minutes. Child got a good life. That's pencil whipping. I don't want pencil whipping. I want to physically know that that person, individual, has been in that classroom. This is where we're failing.
Well, I can say that I know that they've been in there because I go in, and when I go in, I take pictures. and I stay a while and I see what's happening. If there's something that has to happen, I can't guarantee that every single time they're in there, but when I look at the schedule, I do pop-up visits. If a principal, and the principals know what the schedule is. So for example, if I've said that this particular specialist will be here from 9:30 to 11, and I go in and I check, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they're in there. But let's say the following week, because I'm one person, I need everybody involved in that. But if it's not reported to me, then I have to assume and trust that what we have established is what's currently happening. If it isn't happening, then I immediately address it, because our kids are our top priority.
So how does that get reported to you?
The principal can email me, can call me. They all have my cell phone numbers. Anyone can report it and let me know. Send me an email. Here's my concern. I haven't seen my specialist. The teacher can say, hey, I need help. I haven't seen my specialist. So they have access to me if they have a need or if their need is not being met.
So in addition to that, just from personal experience, we have core classes and they are critical, and we have long-term substitutes in those classes. From personal experience, 8th grade, Algebra 1, I remember, because I'm not far from a dumb individual. I had a long-term substitute for over half of my school year. So guess what I didn't really learn? Algebra. We had a packet. I'm not going to call the substitute out because I still remember that individual, but the best part about algebra for me was finding X. You understand? So when we have these substitute teachers, again, because I experienced it, right, and it hampered, it put a hindrance on me for math through school, starting at 8th grade, right? These people have to be able or be knowledgeable or have some type of assistance readily available to them in order to fill in for those classes. And I'm not saying the other classes don't matter, but when we're looking at English and we're looking at science and we're looking, you know what I mean? Especially, I'm still mad about math, right? Like I am still at 40 mad about math because it didn't have to be that way. You understand? And if we're already failing as it is, or there's already an issue with teachers, having a long-term sub, and even at the elementary school, teaching them multiplication, second, third grade now? Whoever is in those classrooms needs to know what they are doing and being able to do it, because if not, it is a straight failure.
I agree.
All the way around. I'm just saying I had to vent that out because I've been struggling.
No problem.
Do students have to pass drug screening for CTE?
You want to take that, Dr. Ricks? And talk about the camp scholars a little bit as well.
Yes, Camp Foundation is offering our seniors a scholarship for industry certification at Camp Community College, an associate's degree. And with that scholarship that they're offering, there are specific criteria. One of those criteria is for them to pass the drug test. They can pass the drug. If they pass or fail the drug test in the fall, they have the opportunity to retake the test in the spring with specific supports in place. We have TDT services that offer substance abuse support counseling. We also have our family engagement team that provides counseling and advising services for them as well. And then again in the spring, they'll be able to take the test again if they fail. So that's with the Camp Scholars. And pretty much some of the CTE industry certifications or jobs, like, if they go to the shipyard with certain skill set, they will be drug tested. With the nursing field, they could be drug tested. And in any time and with any field, they can randomly be drug tested if it's requested.
Do we drug test our teachers that we want to drug test our children?
We do not drug test teachers. If something occurs that there has to be an investigation or something, then that may occur.
I understand when something occurs, but that beginning packet, why aren't we drug testing our teachers? We want our children to be drug free. Why not our teachers be drug free? You know how crazy it is, and I'm going to say it because I've been living here in Franklin for over 20 years, that when these children, you're drug testing them and they see their teacher buying cracks from somebody, or they're buying a bag of weed from somebody. We're holding our children accountable. Why not hold everyone accountable? And if that's the case, then start with the school board office, going to the teachers, the principals, and everybody else, and let them all be drug tested.
Well, currently, again, in our HR packet at this time, there's not a requirement of testing staff. If there are things reported and there is an investigation, if there are some things that happen, then those requirements are required based on individual cases.
Ms. Boone, that would be something that would have to be school board approved. And also, that's normally not a common practice in the state of Virginia with the other school systems. So that would be quite a precedence. But we'll take a look at it.
All right, please. Next question. In what grade or grades have the overage students been retained?
Please repeat that, Mr. Holt.
In what grade or grades have the overage students been retained?
With the overage, we're still diving into the data of that because, like I said, we just did a brief overview. But I can say that some may not necessarily have been retained. It could have been, we have a host of students that have been out during the pandemic that may have lost a year. Parents kept them at home, then returned them when school did fully open. So we have some cases that falls into those categories too. So as we dive deeper into the data, again, we just realizing it, and we just had our team to provide a data analysis of a spreadsheet with that information. But we definitely have a plan with the committees we mentioned as one of the interventions to really dive in deep into that data and see what we need to do with those overage numbers.
I'm not sure we can answer this one. It says, why are so many staff in Franklin not living in Franklin?
Yeah, I would say that we don't require a residency requirement because we have to compete with other districts for teachers, and if you put that kind of restraint on a staff person, there's no way in the world we will recruit anyone to come. They have a right to live where they want to live as long as they make it to work on time.
There's some questions about elementary school. We wanted to concentrate on high school tonight because of the graduation situation. We will deal with the elementary school at the next meeting. That's all the questions that we can legally answer.
That is
Do we have a motion from the board to adjourn?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, there is absolutely a truth that for the protection of people, there are some things we are not allowed to say. And that's not us being ugly. That is not us being ugly. It's not us not wanting to be transparent. It's that we take seriously the oath of office that we took, and that there are some things that must remain confidential. And we would be legally liable if we were to answer questions that we're legally not allowed to answer. So I would ask that you respect the legal requirements under which we operate.
The very best way is to meet with a board member one-on-one and bring your concerns one-on-one. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We're adjourned. Thank you all.